What if you couldn't close your eyes for the next 168 hours? At first, you'll feel like you've become a superhuman, but by day 4, your brain will start seeing things that aren't even there. This isn't a horror movie. This is exactly what happens when a human doesn't sleep for 7 days. And today, we are going to see exactly how sleep deprivation devastates your brain. Most of us have pulled an all-nighter at some point. Coffee, a deadline, maybe a newborn keeping the whole house up. It's brutal. But you crash the next night and your body forgets about it fast. Humans are actually the only species that does this to itself voluntarily. Every other animal sleeps because it has no choice. We're the ones setting alarms for 4 hours before a flight, or telling ourselves I'll catch up on the weekend. Usually we do. This time, there's no catching up. Not for a full week. While you're awake, your brain isn't just resting later. It's running maintenance non-stop, flushing waste, filing memories, repairing tissue, resetting hormones. A full third of your life is spent doing this, unconscious, in the dark, and most people never stop to ask why. Skip that maintenance entirely for a week, and everything you're about to hear is your body sending warning after warning that the job never got done. You wake up on the first morning, and honestly, you feel completely normal, maybe even good. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock running on roughly a 24-hour loop, hasn't caught on yet that anything's different. It's your usual bedtime that gives you the first real signal. Melatonin floods in, your eyes get heavy, you fight it with cold water and loud music. And then, somewhere past the 24-hour mark, instead of crashing, you suddenly feel amazing. Sharp, talkative, a little euphoric even. That's not your body adapting, that's panic. Your brain reads still awake as a threat and dumps dopamine into your system to keep you alert enough to survive whatever it thinks is chasing you. Underneath that high, a chemical called adenosine keeps quietly stacking up in your brain tissue. Normally, sleep clears it out overnight. You're not sleeping, so it just keeps piling with nowhere to go, and the pressure to shut your eyes only gets stronger the longer you ignore it. That's also why coffee stops working the way it used to around this point. Caffeine doesn't actually give you energy, it just blocks the receptors that let adenosine make you feel tired. Once the backlog gets this large, blocking the signal isn't enough to outrun it anymore. No amount of espresso fixes a debt this size. It can only mask it for a little while longer. The high doesn't last. Somewhere in day 2, it burns off all at once, and 48 hours of exhaustion crashes down on you in a single wave. Your reaction time is now roughly on par with someone who's legally drunk behind the wheel, slower reflexes, worse judgment, and no idea how impaired you actually are. Your immune system takes a hit in parallel. Natural killer cells, the ones that normally hunt down viruses and abnormal cells, drop off fast, and your body is basically leaving the door unlocked for whatever's going around. It's a big part of why people running chronically short on sleep seem to catch every bug that passes through the office. Studies on people getting less than 6 hours a night for even a single week have found measurable drops in the same immune markers, just at a smaller scale than what's happening to you right now. From here, the damage stops being just physical. Your brain starts forcing microsleeps, involuntary blackouts lasting anywhere from a second to half a minute. Your eyes might stay open. You might even look like you're paying attention. You're not there. And if you're doing anything dangerous when it hits, driving, operating machinery, even just walking downstairs, that's a window that can genuinely kill you. Traffic safety researchers point to exactly this mechanism, not falling asleep at the wheel in any dramatic way, but a few blank seconds nobody notices until it's too late, as a factor behind a meaningful share of nighttime road accidents. Coming out of one leaves you disoriented, blinking, trying to figure out how much time just vanished, and your emotions start swinging wildly. The connection between your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex, the part that normally keeps emotion in check, is cut off. Drop your phone, and you might burst into tears. Or rage, neither one under your control, and neither one making much sense even to you in the moment. By the third day, your brain has gone this long without REM sleep, the stage where it processes the day and clears out mental clutter, so it starts leaking dream logic into your waking hours instead, whether you're ready for it or not. It starts small. The edges of your vision ripple like heat off asphalt. A shadow moves at the corner of your eye, and there's nothing there when you turn. The line between what's real and what your brain is inventing keeps getting thinner. Then it sharpens. That coat on the back of the door looks like a person, standing still, watching you. Sounds join in too. A radio playing somewhere that doesn't exist. Someone whispering your name with nobody in the room. Some people report smells that aren't there. Or a crawling feeling on their skin with nothing touching it. Solo sailors, soldiers on extended deployments, long-haul truckers. A lot of them have their own version of this story, told the same way, describing the same specific unease. By day 4, it tips into something closer to full psychosis. Paranoia sets in hard. You're convinced people are watching you, plotting against you. And two strangers talking nearby suddenly sounds like a conspiracy about you specifically. You might lock yourself away from a threat that only exists inside your own overloaded brain. Family members trying to check on you can end up looking like part of the threat, which is part of what makes this stage so hard to manage from the outside. Clinically, this is close enough to acute schizophrenia that sleep-deprived patients have occasionally been misdiagnosed in emergency rooms before anyone thought to ask when they last slept. Meanwhile, something's happening deeper in your skull. Sleep is when cells called astrocytes clean up cellular debris, and in mice, extreme chronic sleep loss has been shown to push those same cells into clearing away healthy synapses, not just waste. Whether the exact mechanism plays out identically in humans isn't confirmed, but it lines up with what you'd be feeling. Your memory falling apart mid-sentence, 5 minutes ago already gone. Entire conversations you can't reconstruct an hour later. Day 5, your body starts trying to force the issue. Blood pressure climbs into genuinely dangerous territory. Your heart skips and flutters under a non-stop flood of cortisol. And basic motor control goes next. Hands shaking too hard to hold a glass of water without spilling it. Words slurring because your brain can't sequence the muscle movements to form a clean sentence anymore. Worse, you've lost enough insight into your own state that you can't really register how much danger you're in. People around you can see it clearly. You can't. By day 6, delirium takes over completely. Time stops making sense. A minute stretches into what feels like an hour. Hours disappear in seconds. You stare at walls, talk to people who aren't there, lose the thread of your own thoughts mid-sentence. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner stayed awake for 11 days for a science fair project under constant supervision from Stanford sleep researcher William Dement, who tracked his condition around the clock and by the end documented severe cognitive impairment even with a full medical team managing every hour of it. You don't have a research team monitoring you. Your temperature drops, your appetite disappears entirely, and your digestive system shuts down almost completely along with it. And by this point, your symptoms mirror those of fatal familial insomnia, a genuine and genuinely fatal genetic disorder where people lose the ability to sleep entirely and decline within months of onset. You're not developing that disease. Your body is just mimicking its final stages. Organs under stress, a brain drowning in waste it can't clear, a heart working overtime with nowhere to rest. 168 hours, the final stretch, if it can even be called that. You're barely present anymore, closer to catatonic than conscious, unresponsive to your name, barely reacting to pain, eyes bloodshot and sunken, ringed in deep, bruised circles. Your immune system is so depleted an ordinary cold could turn into pneumonia, and your heart, still hammered by cortisol and blood pressure, is at real risk of giving out completely. Sleep deprivation alone probably won't kill you in exactly 7 days, but the chain reaction it sets off absolutely can. Eventually, your brain forces the shutdown itself, whether you're ready or not, and there's nothing left in you to fight it. No willpower, no adrenaline, nothing. When sleep finally comes, it's not 8 hours. Your body demands the debt back immediately, dropping you straight into deep, slow wave sleep and skipping the lighter stages entirely, while your glymphatic system, the brain's own waste-clearing network, works overtime, flushing out the backlog of adenosine and cellular debris. You might sleep 14, 18, even 24 hours straight without stirring. A larger share of that sleep than usual gets spent in REM, almost like your brain is racing to catch up on the dreaming it missed all week. One long sleep doesn't erase the damage, though. The urgent stuff resets fast. The adenosine backlog, the immediate crash risk, but your hormones, immune system, and memory need several more nights of normal, consistent sleep before they're actually back to baseline. There's no shortcut for debt this deep, no matter how many hours you throw at it afterward. Doctors monitoring recovery after extreme sleep loss typically track blood pressure, immune markers, and cognitive testing for days afterward, not just how many hours the person slept, precisely because the sleep itself is only the first step back. Waking up, you're groggy and foggy for days, sometimes weeks. The psychological weight of what you just lived through, the paranoia, the things you saw and heard that weren't there, tends to outlast the physical exhaustion by a good margin. Most people who go through severe sleep deprivation, even in controlled medical settings, describe the days after as harder to shake than the sleepless stretch itself. None of this happens on a clean, predictable schedule either. Some people hit the hallucination stage faster, some hold off a little longer, depending on age, health, and how sleep-deprived they already were going in. But the general order rarely changes. Very few people will ever go through a week like this one. But millions of people live in a smaller, slower version of it. Students cramming through exam season, new parents running on broken sleep for months at a stretch, shift workers rotating between day and night schedules with barely any recovery time between them. The mechanisms are the same ones you just heard about. Dopamine masking fatigue, adenosine building faster than it clears, immune function quietly dropping, just spread out over weeks or years instead of a single brutal week. Which is often exactly why it goes unnoticed until something in the body finally gives out. Sleep was never wasted time. It's maintenance your body runs whether you approve the schedule or not, and this is what it looks like, in exact, escalating detail, when that maintenance window gets skipped entirely for a full week on purpose.